I have a bully story. It's not mine. It's from Reddit. Do you want to hear it?
Oh, okay. All right. I like bullies.
Do this. My bully. I was 8 years old, and my dad and brothers moved across the country. My brother started high school when my dad started a new job. My mom and I stayed back so she could sell the house, and we moved to join them. During this time, my dad asked my uncle to keep an eye on my mom and I. While selling the house, we moved in with my uncle and his family. It was a different area, and I had to go to a different school where I didn't know anyone. A few weeks into the school year, a much larger kid 2 grades above me decided that I would be his target for the year. It started small. He would just knock things out of my hand or push me when we crossed paths. He then started stealing things from me. I put up with it because I didn't think I had a choice at the time. I was working up the courage to fight back like my dad told me to, but this kid was huge, and my courage wasn't building fast enough. One day I went to the bathroom during recess, and I ran into him in the bathroom. I knew that out of view of the teachers, it wasn't going to be fun, and as he expected, he pummeled me right up until the bell rang. Unfortunately for him, he left a lot of noticeable marks on my face. I had a fat lip, a shiner, a bloody nose. The teacher noticed this right away and sent me to the office. Once there, I was pissed, and I told the principal everything. He called down the bully. The bully denied doing anything to me, ever. The principal knew he was lying, so he scheduled an appointment with both sets of parents. That night, my mom and uncle went with me, and his parents went with him. Once in there, his parents constantly denied that their kid did anything. They even said that I was bullying him. I was 8, and I could see how ridiculous that was. The principal had another meeting to be at, so he asked that we meet again the next night to resolve this. The bully's father started complaining and saying that if I bully his son again, that he's going to be okay with his son defending himself. He made a point of saying that just because you lose the fight doesn't mean you're not the bully, which I guess is technically true, except in this situation, his son was definitely the bully. Everyone agreed to meet the next night, and we left the school. As we were getting into our cars, I love this, my uncle went over to the bully's father and put his arm around him. He walked him to where I assume he thought he was out of sight, but it wasn't. My uncle beat this guy up really badly. And then as the bully's father was laying on the ground, covered in his own blood, my uncle leaned in and said something. He came back, and everyone remained silent for the rest of the night. The next day, my bully was not in class. That evening, we all went to meet up with the principal, and the bully's father looked like one of those UFC post-fight photos. Lumps and bruises everywhere. The principal asked what happened. My uncle responded by saying that the bully's father was bullying him, and that he defended himself, and that just because he lost the fight doesn't mean that he wasn't the bully. The principal took a moment, looked at the bully's father, and asked, "Is that true?" The bully's father looked at the principal and said, "Yes, sir." He then said his son needed to say something. My bully stood up and began apologizing as he broke into tears. He confessed to everything and said that he will never bully anyone ever again. Then the father apologized to me for not believing the way that he treated me. My uncle looked at the principal and said, "I think we can accept that apology. Is there anything else?" The principal said no. That's how it ends.
I missed the first part of this. Is this in r/shower fantasies?
This is faker than a funeral bitch slap.
Don't you fact check me. Don't you do it. This is true. I choose it.
This is like when I'm standing in the shower and like I think of the comeback and I'm like, well, how about that? And then, yeah, that's how. That's the way that memory.
Well, the joke stuck.
Yeah.
No, that didn't happen.
They're all-time bestseller.
Just keeps piling up. And then my uncle leaned in and said this. It was just like Rocky IV. I don't know about it.